Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so just thinking. I was listening to J.R. Smith and Dame, and a little back and forth there, where J.R. Smith was essentially saying to Dame Lillard, you know, paraphrasing as I always do, 'cause I'm never gonna get a quote right, but more or less, J.R. was saying, "You gonna rot away in Portland, man? Like I respect what you're doing in terms of, trying to stay in one spot, but you just gonna rot away out there." And Dame responded in something along the lines of, "Don't be mad because you got passed around like a blunt. You know what I mean? Don't question my loyalty." And that's what I took from his situation and what he was saying. Uh, the thing about it though, for me, it's like I don't think Jr. was necessarily disrespectful. I didn't take it that way. It wasn't my disrespect to take, but I'm saying like I didn't think what he said was out of bounds. I felt beyond the shadow of a doubt that exact same way. Um, Dame is going to effectively stay in Portland, and it doesn't look like a situation where he's going to be able to win in time to be the elite talent that he is. If they do put together a winning situation, it'll be a shock to all of us. And if they do it over the next several years, yeah, he'll be a part of a winning situation. But I can almost be certain he won't be the alpha number one on the team if that's the case. It's going to be some guys who come in to usurp him in order for that to be the case. And so it's just like at this level, for the role that he wants to have, he's losing opportunities to be a champion. You know what I mean? Now it's like if he gets a ring, it's going to be, as I said or described, or it could be a situation where he goes to another team after his career is no longer at this level, which I don't expect to even happen at all. I think Portland will hold on to him even then. But the point I'm trying to say here is, I've seen too many cases, including my very own self. I very much think this, where the very thing that makes us our best can also be the very thing that makes us our worst or keeps us from the best, whatever results would be. And I just find that even as I look inward, I still see the need to try to overcome that. I don't think we should allow ourselves to stop thinking in that space. Those of us where that applies to. I think about a guy like Russell Westbrook. The challenge I put into this camera into Russell Westbrook, and I don't think you'll ever see my videos, but it was some videos that I made last year where I was just challenging him to attack his weaknesses. There's certain things you can't change, you know what I mean? I can't change my height, I can't jump, this, that, and the third, but I can learn how best to do what it is that I do better than what it is I'm doing it now. I can learn how to be more of a professional speaker. I can learn how to be more thorough in what I say. I can learn how to be better at quoting people and making sure I have the information in front of me. Those are things that I can do to improve myself. But if I look at only my strengths and say I speak well, I can do this in one take, I come up with stuff, whatever I want to say about myself in a positive light, and don't give enough credence to the weaknesses that'll make me better, then I'll be stagnant. Or even worse, I'll get worse. And so it's one of those situations where, I think with Dame, how this kind of correlates to me is just, the comfort level of wanting to stay in Portland, the comfort level of wanting to stay married to the mission, the money mission, and what sacrifices he feels he has to give up in order for those things to have, to take place. And it's like, maybe there was another way. Maybe if he would have eased up on the loyalty to Portland aspect of things and eased up on just maybe 30 million of the $500 million, maybe his circumstance could be a little better. You know what I'm saying? It's like, ain't nobody saying you got to give up the mission, but to shave a little off of the mission to give yourself a better path is something that the people who are rooting for you really, really want to see. That's what J.R. Smith, I think, was he's in that category. He's not one of them haters. I didn't take J.R. Smith saying you a hater, bro. He doesn't want to see you rot. He perceives the situation as you rotting, and he doesn't want to see that no more than any of your fans do. And I get on being in the situation where you're gonna defend that because you're a killer. You're gonna defend that, respectfully. Basketball killer, of course, what I'm saying. But you gon', the very thing that makes you great, that killer mentality, can also make it so that you take what someone's saying as, bro, please don't do this to yourself, as, bro, I don't like you, I'm hating, and I'm jealous. It's like, nah, that's not what that was, bro. That's how that correlates. It's like I think he's attacking it the same way he would attack other things. It's like, bro, you missing good energy. I don't think the brother was sending bad energy your way. I don't think JR was sending bad energy your way at all. I think he was telling you the same thing all the people that care about you are saying. Stop wasting away in a situation that you can't win. You don't have to forego any of your goals at all in terms of winning, I don't believe. And in terms of Westbrook, his situation obviously is completely different, but the correlation is this. The very thing that made him the great player that could just do all that he did at a relentless speed, a relentless energy, motor. The motor is what we're trying to describe here. That same motor is, to me, the same thing that's driving how he reacts to the criticism. It's a defensive mechanism, and it defies the realities of the circumstances. The way he approached the sport, he's doing what the rest of us can't do. He's getting from point A to point B faster, stronger, and harder than everybody else, more consistently, and that's what wowed us. Oh my God, is he down there again dunking? Wasn't he just down there 2 seconds ago? How did he get down there? In order to think this fast and think this way, you got to be fast all the time, which is what Shaq was trying to allude to. It's like you got to slow down. But the speed and moving that fast and being that defiant of reality is what ultimately made him as great. So when the athleticism went, it didn't necessarily mean he could turn off the mentality or the speed from which he played. You know what I mean? I think about a guy like Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson was a one-man band. You told him to shoot 50 shots every game, and you only put defensive players around him his entire career in his prime. And then you're going to put him in a situation next to a guy like Carmelo Anthony, who takes the same amount of shots, one of the most prolific scorers ever, in his early beginning stages of his prime. And other players like J.R. Smith, for example, we already talking about. You put him in a situation that's nothing like that, and then you tell him overnight to change. But if he was capable of turning off that very thing that he was, he wouldn't have been as prolific at it as he was. He wouldn't be able to shoot 50 shots a night and get 60 and 65 points as a guy who's only 6 feet. You know what I mean? Going into the trees, taking punishment every play, getting up, hitting free throws, and doing it again and again and again and again repeatedly. That's a mentality. You're behind your eyes thinking, I'm going at you at all times. Nobody can stop me ever. Because that's the only mentality that does that. You're not thinking about, spinning tops or, ballerinas in your head. You're not split focus and thinking about various different things. No, your mentality is go, 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 go. So when it's time to turn that off, well, you never were able to turn that off. That's what made you so great. So that's also what's going to hurt you. It's going to make you bad when the athleticism goes, when the body can't react to the mentality anymore. It's now exposed as something they can't audible out of. Now it's exposed as something that they have on autopilot and they can't shift away from it. And so I think the challenge for those people is to not accept that. Literally not accept that and do their very best to shift out of it. Because that's the only way to. Especially when you're playing elite or dealing with elite level talent in whatever field you're in. If you can't change to be what it is that you need to be, then you can't be at that level no more. And so that's where I think Russell Westbrook's at. I don't know that he can turn that off. I don't believe that that's something he's just going to be able to. No, I don't think so. But maybe he proves me wrong, so on and so forth. But I think now it's about him learning certain things about how to best move so that maybe the things that his speed and his strengths ultimately supplemented can now be supplemented by talent in areas that are going to be new for him, certain fundamental areas that maybe he didn't have to focus on when he was so strong. So can he learn those things in a short enough time to become elite at those things so that he can stay at this level? That's the question you got to ask yourself, and the answer is that's a tough one. That's tough. It's like, if I'm not that good at something, well, how the heck am I get elite at it? You know what I mean? It's one of those type of situations, I think, in Westbrook's case. So we'll figure it out. He will figure it out. That's what it really comes down to. So that's how that correlates in my mind. Sometimes the very thing that makes us great, and the very thing that drives us, can be the very thing that halts us. It slows down our greatness. So try to fight that. And that's what I would try to do. I'm going to try to fight that within myself. I think how that correlates for myself is, so forthcoming with how I struggle with different things I say on camera and different things. Like, I'm here to tell you, oh, these are my flaws, oh, this is my therapy sessions, things like that. If you watch that stuff, you know how much I share. But that also puts me in positions to have things go wrong for me. Now, if I don't handle things better in certain situations, obviously they fall apart. You know what I mean? So it's like, I need to find a way to not only provide myself the ability and the experience to provide certain types of content, but also the experience to learn from the mistakes that I'm making when making that content, so that the consequences of what it is that I speak about every day can kind of align with the lifestyle that I ultimately believe I should be living. So when you telling people, okay, you should do this, this, and this, and then they look around and your life ain't up to par, it's like, well, why should I follow you on anything? You know what I mean? But I think the transparency of the why will answer that question for you in regards to myself. So that's what it's about, man. We look inward here. We ain't always looking at you saying, oh, your problems are the problems and we're perfect and we know what you need to do. No, not necessarily at all. But I look at myself and I say, like I see in others, there's plenty here that needs to be restructured, unlearned, so to speak, and done differently, so that I can continue to evolve just like I want to see everyone else. So that's what it's about, helping along with the voice, and so on and so forth. So that's what I got to say, man. Not a whole lot of basketball talk, of course, but I do want people who are in this era, who are struggling, to make it through these difficult times. You know what I mean? And when I say that, I'm thinking about the NBA, specifically the players that we're talking about. I want to see Russell Westbrook be able to get through this era and ultimately be able to extend his career past this moment. I want to see Dame Lillard find some basketball success before he retires. That we really can say he was able to get to those moments. You know, because he's too gifted of a clutch player to ultimately not win, not get himself an opportunity to really legitimately win. And in his mind, I truly believe that this is a win. When you set out your mind to do certain things and those are the things you accomplish, the world may be looking at you and saying you should be playing this game, but maybe you have an entirely different game you're playing. And you're at the finish line waving the flag and everybody else can't seem to see where the win is. But you set out to do something and you got it done. And I think that's what we're looking at in Dame Lillard. We're not satisfied with that. I think that's the reality of it. I look at that and I say, I'm not satisfied with that, Damian. I want more for you. I want you to want more for yourself, and blah, blah, blah. And he's sitting there like, I don't care, bro. I literally don't care. Congratulate me. I'm happy about myself. So that's what it is. That's exactly what I see there. And we just got to accept that. All of us. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.